The thing that really struck me the most about this experience was how young these guys are. And I mean like young. I mean, it doesn't even look like this kid can shave, let alone like get up and do something incredibly dangerous. I kind of understood after going to see like how young these dudes were that the Border Patrol recruiting pitch is pretty attractive. My name is Carrie Schreck, and I'm a photojournalist who covers political division in the United States. The backstory of this photo series is really, somebody sent me a meme about different places around the country where there was going to be recruiting for Border Patrol. So I went on to the Border Patrol recruiting page, and I started to notice this pattern of rodeos specifically. The thing that struck me was most sports are very masculine and macho, and I'm assuming that those are the kind of guys the Border Patrol would be looking for. Why not a football game then? Why not soccer games? Why bull riding? They had a rodeo going on in Uvalde, Texas, where Border Patrol would be recruiting. And so drove down to Uvalde. And what I see is that these young guys have to get on this bull. The sort of fascinating thing about this is, right, these guys, first of all, these guys, incredibly polite, but in this moment, he's got to psych himself up for the insane thing that's about to happen. So he takes a deep breath and then he growls, sort of, and I won't do it because I'm wearing a microphone, but he sort of punches himself in the chest a couple of times. And it speaks to the kind of the machismo, but also the adrenaline rush that like these young guys are looking for. I met a guy whose face had been kicked in and completely reconstructed. Some other people were telling me they had friends that had been helicoptered out. They definitely knew people who had died. I guess infer what you would about why it is Border Patrol wants to recruit from this pool of kids to a young kid who's maybe 18, 19, 20, 21. Those incentives are going to make a real difference in his life and the life of his family. One of the guys in one of these towns said to me, like, that's a huge opportunity for them. Most of these recruiters would tell you that, like, look, you're signing up for Border Patrol. You're going to work at a port of entry. You're going to ride a horse on the border. You're not going to be out there doing ICE raids. But what we've seen is that Border Patrol people are getting pulled into ICE activities on the interior of the country. Border Patrol and ICE are both under DHS. So there's a non-zero chance you're going to sign up for Border Patrol and end up on some kind of enforcement action in the interior of the country in a city like Los Angeles or Chicago. This was in Anaheim, California. This was 30 miles south of where some of the biggest immigration raids have been happening. One person I showed this photo to made a very astute observation, which was there couldn't be a single person in this arena that doesn't know someone affected by those raids. Even in Anaheim, which is not far from Los Angeles at all, there were a lot of red hats in there. And it makes you realize that that brand of conservatism, especially the kind of conservatism that thinks rodeo is a great place to pick up new employees, it's here to stay. And it's a lot more prevalent than we like to think in a blue bubble. There's space for all kinds of ideas in America, but I think that in the way that you're seeing, especially in the past few weeks, ICE becoming more aggressive, there's been a ramp up in the temperature. It feels like political violence is imminent. I wonder that looking for new recruits in spaces like this isn't adding to that.